The chef who cooked against his own culture. He was told it was wrong before anyone tasted it. Not risky, not impractical. Wrong. This story matters now because culture is often treated as something to protect, not question. Tradition becomes instruction. Identity becomes boundary. But progress rarely comes from obedience alone. To understand how one chef chose to cook against his own culture, we need to return to a kitchen where loyalty and honesty collided. Because today, the same tension still defines creativity everywhere. The chef was raised inside tradition. Recipes were inherited, not invented. Techniques were memorized, not debated. Food was a language of respect, repetition, and belonging. Deviating from it felt personal. For years, he cooked exactly as expected. Elders approved. Guests recognized the flavors. The dishes carried lineage. Success came steadily, but something remained unresolved. The food felt accurate, yet incomplete. The discomfort grew quietly. While traveling, the chef encountered unfamiliar techniques, new textures, unexpected combinations. Not better, just different. They unsettled him in a way tradition never had. Back home, he began experimenting privately. Small changes, adjusted temperatures, altered balances. Nothing dramatic, but each deviation felt heavy. He was not just changing food. He was questioning inheritance. The first public attempt was subtle. A familiar dish, slightly reworked. Guests noticed immediately. Some hesitated. Others asked questions. A few felt offended. The reaction was stronger than expected. Word traveled fast. The chef was accused of dilution, of disrespect, of chasing outside influence. The criticism did not come from critics. It came from within the community. The chef faced an impossible choice. Stay loyal to tradition, or stay honest to instinct. Pleasing both was no longer possible, and that conflict would soon define everything that followed. The backlash intensified quickly. Elders confronted him directly. Peers distanced themselves. What had once felt like guidance hardened into judgment. The chef was no longer seen as evolving tradition, but challenging it. Inside the kitchen, doubt crept in. Every adjustment felt loaded with consequence. Was this growth or betrayal? Was curiosity worth isolation? The pressure was emotional, not professional. Guests became divided. Some praised the changes quietly. Others stopped coming entirely. Reviews reflected the fracture. Words like confused and unnecessary appeared alongside thoughtful and brave. The restaurant became a battleground of expectation. The chef retreated inward. He stopped explaining his choices. Explanation invited debate. Debate exhausted him. Instead, he focused on clarity. Cooking the food as it felt true, regardless of reception. This deepened the rift. Silence was mistaken for arrogance. The community demanded justification. The chef offered none. Financial pressure followed. Without unanimous support, stability wavered. Advisors urged compromise. Reintroduce classics. Balance innovation with respect. Meet halfway. But halfway felt dishonest. The chef realized he was no longer choosing between old and new. He was choosing between performance and belief. So he made a decisive move. He removed several iconic dishes entirely, not to reject them, but to stop hiding behind them. The menu became smaller, sharper, more personal. The reaction was immediate and severe. Some called it erasure. Others called it liberation. Reservations dropped, then steadied. A new audience began forming, slower and quieter. The chef stood alone more than ever. But for the first time, the food felt aligned. And alignment, once achieved, has a way of changing everything. The story now moved toward its most painful and revealing phase. The pain arrived through distance. Invitations stopped. Festivals removed his name quietly. The chef realized resistance does not always shout. Sometimes it simply withdraws. Inside the kitchen, the consequences became tangible. Fewer covers, tighter margins, longer hours. The team shrank to those willing to stay without certainty. What remained was commitment, not comfort. The chef questioned himself nightly. Not the food, but the cost. Was honesty worth isolation? Could culture bend without breaking? Or was he breaking himself instead? Then something unexpected happened. Younger cooks began reaching out, privately at first. They recognized themselves in the tension. They shared similar doubts, unspoken out of fear. The chef's defiance gave them language. Guests arrived from outside the community, not searching for authenticity, but for truth. They did not compare. They listened. The dining room felt different, quieter, more open. The food evolved again, not away from tradition, but through it. The chef stopped reacting to criticism. He stopped proving anything. The dishes settled into their own voice. The community noticed a shift, slowly. The anger softened into curiosity. Some elders returned anonymously. They tasted without commentary. No apologies followed. None were needed. The chef understood then that culture is not preserved by freezing it. It survives through tension, through disagreement, through people willing to risk belonging. The cost remained real. The fractures did not vanish. But the chef no longer measured success by acceptance. He measured it by alignment. And with that clarity, the story approached its final reckoning. The reckoning did not arrive as victory. It arrived as recognition. Years later, the chef was no longer introduced as controversial. He was introduced as necessary. The community did not fully agree with him. That was never the goal. What changed was permission. Younger chefs began questioning openly. Techniques once considered untouchable were re-examined. Tradition expanded without losing its spine. The chef's restaurant never became mainstream. It did not need to. Its impact lived elsewhere. In kitchens where cooks felt brave enough to adjust, reinterpret, and speak honestly through food. Looking back, the chef understood the real conflict was never cultural. It was emotional. Fear of loss, fear of disrespect, fear of change disguised as loyalty. By choosing honesty over acceptance, he paid a price, but he also gave something back. Proof that culture is strongest when it can be challenged by those who love it most. Today, his story resonates far beyond food. It speaks to anyone caught between inheritance and instinct, between belonging and truth, because progress rarely comes from rejection alone. It comes from those willing to stay close enough to risk disagreement. So what do you think? Are we repeating the same mistake again? What the chef's story also reveals is something about the difference between preservation and continuation. Preservation means keeping something unchanged. It treats the original as a standard and any deviation as loss. Continuation means carrying something forward. It treats the original as foundation and deviation as growth. The community that confronted the chef believed they were practicing preservation. They were protecting what had been passed down, maintaining the integrity of a culinary inheritance that mattered to them. That instinct was not wrong. Inheritance is worth protecting. The question is always how. Preservation that refuses all change eventually produces a museum, not a living tradition. A tradition is alive when it can respond to the people who carry it, when it can absorb new experience without losing its essential character, when the people inside it can question and experiment and occasionally disagree with what came before, and have that disagreement be absorbed rather than expelled. The chef was not trying to break the tradition. He was trying to keep it alive, by insisting that it was strong enough to survive his curiosity, by refusing to treat it as so fragile that one adjusted dish could threaten it, by demonstrating, through the risk he took, that the tradition had more capacity than its most devoted guardians believed. That demonstration cost him greatly. It always does. The people most committed to preservation are often those who care most deeply, which means the confrontation between preservation and continuation is always emotionally charged, always personal, always painful on both sides. The chef never stopped caring about the tradition he questioned. That caring was, in fact, the reason he questioned it. He believed it was worth more than what it was being allowed to become. Worth the risk of being misunderstood by the people he most wanted to understand him. Worth the loneliness that came with choosing honesty over belonging. Worth the years it took for the community to arrive, gradually and imperfectly, at the recognition that he had not been destroying what they loved. He had been insisting it was strong enough to survive him. And strength that cannot survive disagreement is not strength. It is fragility protected by silence. The chef broke the silence, and the tradition eventually was stronger for it. So what do you think? Are we repeating the same mistake again? The chef